I heard someone breathing in my room. I'll never forget the night I realized I wasn't alone in my own room. Even now, when I think about it, my chest gets tight, my breathing goes shallow, and I feel like I'm right back in that bed, frozen under the covers. It started on a perfectly normal evening. I was 21 at the time, living alone in a small basement apartment I rented near campus. It wasn't fancy by any means, the kind of place where the pipes clanked. The walls were a little too thin, and you could always hear your upstairs neighbors walking around. But for me, it was freedom. My first real place without roommates, without family, just mine. That night, I had been up late studying. I had an exam the next morning, so I tried to go to bed around 1. My bed was pushed against the wall in the corner of the room, directly facing the door that led to the narrow hallway. I had a habit of sleeping with my door closed, but not locked. Something about locking it made me feel trapped, even though it was probably safer. I remember tossing and turning for a while, staring at the faint glow of the streetlight that bled in through the blinds. At some point, I must have dozed off because the next thing I remember was waking up in pitch black silence. No sounds from upstairs, no humming refrigerator, nothing. Just the kind of silence that almost buzzes in your ears, and then I heard it. At first it was so faint I thought I was imagining it. A soft, steady inhale, and then a long, slow exhale, breathing inside my room. I froze, my eyes straining in the dark. I told myself it had to be me, that I was just hyper aware of my own breathing. But no, the rhythm was off. The breaths were too deep, too controlled, too deliberate. And worst of all, they weren't coming from where I was lying. They were coming from the foot of my bed. Every hair on my body stood up. My heart hammered so loud, I was terrified whoever or whatever was in my room could hear it. I tried to stay perfectly still, my mind racing. I wanted to believe it was a dream, sleep paralysis, anything but real. But then the breathing shifted. It got closer. Slow, careful footsteps on the carpet. I squeezed my eyes shut, convinced that if I didn't move, if I didn't acknowledge it, maybe it would go away. But then I heard the most chilling sound of my life, an exhale. So close, it brushed against my ear. Warm, damp, and human. I snapped. I sat straight up, fumbling for the lamp on my nightstand. My hand shook as I slammed the switch. The room lit up in a warm yellow glow, and there was nothing. The space at the foot of my bed was empty. My door was still closed, my window locked. I was alone, or so it seemed. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat there with the light on, my back against the wall, staring at the door until the sun came up. I told myself it had to have been a dream, that I imagined it in that strange, half-awake state. But 2 nights later, it happened again. This time, I woke up to the sound of my closet door creaking open. I stared at it in horror as it shifted just an inch, slowly, like someone was inside pushing it. Again came the breathing, deep, slow, measured. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just listened. The closet door creaked again. Another inch open. I thought about running, about bolting for the front door, but my body refused to move. And then, just like before, the sound of footsteps on the carpet, the slow approach of something I couldn't see. I whispered into the dark, my voice trembling. "Who's there?" Silence. Then, right beside my bed, the breathing again. I couldn't take it. I leapt out of bed, sprinted to the door, flung it open, and ran into the hallway. Every light in the apartment went on. I checked every corner, every closet, every possible hiding spot. Nothing. And yet, when I returned to my bedroom, the closet door was wide open. That was the last night I ever slept in that apartment. I packed up my things the next morning and begged a friend to let me crash at their place until my lease ended. People always ask me if I could have been dreaming, if maybe stress and exhaustion played tricks on me. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. A week after I left, the landlord called. He said the new tenant was asking if the locks could be changed because she kept waking up in the night to the sound of someone breathing in her room.